Hi YouTube, it's Aid here from Dale Skidmore Second-Hand Tyres. Just an update after my last video, the big reveal. You know how plans can go awry and things can change from time to time. Well, a day or two after I recorded that video, I had a call from Cuckoo, who was out to buy a caravan from someone, and he gave me a call and said, "You've got to come over here because I've got something to show you." So I whizzed all the way over the other side of Canterbury, and there in the garden was this. Can you guess what it is yet? In the garden it looked a bit smaller. It's 12.5 foot long and 5 foot in the beam, fiberglass rowing boat. Well, it has provision on the back end for a motor as well, but I'm not so fussed about that at the moment. But I had to buy it, and I still got plans and the intention to build a boat from scratch, but for the time being it'll be a good practice to start with this one. The hull's all sound, but the woodwork obviously is leaves a lot to be desired. It was under a tree and full of leaf mould. It was an oak tree actually, full of leaf mould, and obviously the woodwork is in a parlous state. In fact, bits of it were dropping off as we were moving it and getting it in here. It's got a trailer as well, as you can see. That's got some issues as well, but for 50 quid it was too good to pass up. Now I know what you're thinking, but believe me, all the problems with it are woodwork and bad applications of gloss paint. And so as a start, an introduction into boat building, I think this is a pretty good project, and I've sort of been thinking about today about a plan of action for it, and the first thing I've got to do is measure up everything, because although they're not really doing much in the way of supporting the runners and the inwales, are sort of holding it in a shape, and before I take them off I've got to measure and make notes of the measurements, and then I can strip all the woodwork off and then jet wash it all out, and on the outside as well, to get rid of all the flakes and the dirt, and then start looking at scraping it all back and cleaning it up and replacing the woodwork and painting it again, and going on from there. So a couple of days work in it, but it's got a lovely size actually, and I definitely can lay down in there and be cosy as anything, especially if I put a tent over the top. I watched Chris Astek's video about his tunnel tent, and that sort of like was one of the questions I've been asking myself over the time, as to what sort of thing I could do to make a shelter of it over the boat whilst I was camping in it. So he's answered that question, thanks very much. And I just think, I'd say, as an introduction to working with boats and making boats and things, it's a good first project, and it can sort of help iron out all the things that I need to iron out when it comes to making one from scratch. So I'm pleased that I got it. I certainly had been looking on eBay for a long time as well, and there were boats there sort of £300, £400, £500 in, alright, slightly better shape than this one woodwork wise, but the way that the wood is on this, it's going to be easy to take it off because it's rotten anyway. So I'm quite excited about it. I'll give you a closer view. Every bit of woodwork on here is completely rotten. It's been stood in the garden for a good few years, probably at least 10, maybe even more, and the paint's all peeling off inside, except for where the leaf mold was. That kept it protected in the bottom of the boat. But even on the outside, it's all been painted with gloss paint over a couple of free coats, and that's all cracked and pulled off. But it's not really designed for boats anyway, because it's got to be flexible, because the boats move around in the water. They flex. And it's got a buoyancy aid at the back and one up at the front under the foredeck as well. But should the boat capsize, it won't sink. Let's give you a closer view of the inside. So you've got storage under the foredeck if it doesn't fall in first, and then there's a seat there. And then there's the centre thwart there for the rowing. I think the rollocks are in the wrong place. There's a second pair just about a foot further back towards the aft. But again, I think they're still in the wrong place. And you can see down into the keel is one of the oars there, which again, they're rotten, but I've got them for a pattern if I can't find a set of oars. They're 2.4 metres long, just over 2.4 metres, and I think that's the right sort of size for the boat. So at least I've got a pattern if I can't find any oars of that length. That's the bit where you put a pin in to tie off the back end when you moor up. Nice and stable, isn't it? And the seat on the back over the buoyancy compartment, and the transom is made for an engine to go on, but as I've not intended really necessarily to get an engine or motor, I would be inclined to fill that in with fiberglass and then put the new transom on as well. So that's where we are at the moment. I still do, and I've been knocked out by the response actually of people to the big reveal where I said I was going to build a boat from scratch, and I still intend to, and I think that I still will be able to. I think I'm going to obviously make this a priority now to do and get it up and running so I can use it, and then I can still have room in this workshop to, in the dry dock as it is now, to make one as well as keep this one in here. I can move it out the way when I need to into the back alley and work on the other one, but for now this is going to be the new project, and I'll do some updates on it as I go. There's probably another part or two in it before I put this one out, so I'll get the cleaning done, stripping it back and cleaned up, and then go from there. So it's not looking too good at the moment in some ways. In fact, Kath and Jimmy had a good laugh when I turned up with it, and they took the mickey quite a bit, which is okay, because when Kath had gone back down into the house, I said to Jimmy, okay, she's out of earshot now, so what do you really think? He said, it's bloody great. So he's just as excited as I am, really. So the journey begins. I was right about the wood being easy to strip off because it's so rotten. I think it would have been a problem stripping a more solid side. I'm saving the screws as well because they're bronze, most of them, There are some that have been put in which are steel, which is absolutely no good for putting in boats because they just rust and they're solid and they break. But the bronze ones are quite expensive, so it's worth saving them, clean them up a bit, and then possibly reuse them again in places. Cut that one out. There's a steel one here, I just can't move it. But bronze ones come out quite easy. There's another steel one there. I've done, moved all the foredeck and all the way down this side to here, and then it just falls apart. We would have had to have done the same on one that was less rotted, and it would have been more of a problem, I think. The main part, the hull itself, is all good. Just needs a damn good clean up and repaint. And made a list of all the measurements for future reference. And there's still a lot of cleaning up to do before I do anything else. Right, get back to you later. Some more wood to crush. Right, so now we've got all the in wales and the out wales off. Removed all the bits for the transom and given it a good clean out. Taken away the thwarts, as they're called, the seats, and cleaned out the bilge. Bit of scraping some more of the loose paint off, and then take it outside, try and get it on its side and jet wash it, get rid of it all, the rest of the muck. And then it'll be down to sanding and cleaning up, ready for putting in the new in wales and out wales. Blimey, I better get my skates on.